is Lena, and today I'm going to be showing you how to fix Armored Core Verdict Day on PlayStation 3. Now, if you've logged into Verdict Day lately, your game has probably had the free battles and leaderboard sections of its main menu grayed out, rendering them inaccessible. Despite server closure, these two online functions are supposed to still be active, and they were until an error from April this year, where the regulation updates failed to apply to the game. This broke free battles and trapped the console versions of the game in Update 1.0. Fixing free battles and getting the game back up to date is going to be split into 3 sections. The first is to install the Webman and Multi-Man homebrew plugins. You will need a system with either hybrid or custom firmware to perform this. If you do not already have a modded PlayStation 3, then you'll find the first link in the description of this video will take you to a full video guide on how to set that up. In the second part, we're going to be backing up your game data and transferring the files. This will be the actual part where we fix the game. Finally, in the third part, I'm going to show you the game working and talk about how you can actually find some people to play it with. Some disclosures should be made. You obviously need to be comfortable modding your PlayStation 3 in order to proceed with all this. Now, no matter what, there is always going to be a chance of you getting your console banned when using online features. However, if you follow these instructions properly, by most accounts, you'll more than likely be fine. Just remember that you're doing this at your own discretion. You will also need to be okay with resetting your campaign progress. Don't worry, you won't be losing any of your paint and AC data. So if you have any cool ACs or emblems with sentimental attachment, you'll get to keep all that. It just means you'll have to repeat the single player sorties and any subquests associated with them. Suppose you can take this as an opportunity to revisit the single player for Verdict Day. It holds up great, which is just as well, since you'll need to climb back up to Mercenary Rank A in order to unlock the whole shop again. To proceed, you'll be needing a personal computer, a USB flash drive, which I'll show you how to format properly, and of course, your working PS3. I would also recommend that before starting any of this process, you go to System Settings and disable both Automatic Update and Display What's New, as well as making sure that Auto Sign-In for PSN is off for any profiles you may have on the system. Of course, you may also consider making an alternative PSN account, which I have done so, in order to further protect your main. Finally, I'd like to thank Rascal and all the other 5th gen modders for giving Verdict Day the love that From Software simply refuses to give it. Getting started now, the second marked link in the description will take you to download Rufus. This is the tool we're going to use to format your USB correctly if it isn't already. I would recommend downloading the portable version here. Once Rufus is downloaded, open it up, say yes to running it as administrator, and then make sure that your inserted USB of choice is selected from the drop-down menu. You'll want to make sure that your boot selection is set to non-bootable. Then, make sure that your partition scheme is set to MBR, and most importantly, make sure that your file system is FAT32. When you're ready to format, click Start. Remember, formatting a storage device will mean wiping all of the data on it, so if there's things on this USB that you care about, Rufus will give you a warning about this. The third numbered link in the description will take you to the Brewology website, where you can download Webman. Simply select the first download in the registry for the latest version. You'll then want to move your Webman download onto your flash drive. After it's done transferring, safely eject it. Take your safely ejected USB and plug it into your PlayStation 3. You'll then want to make sure that your custom or hybrid firmware is enabled, as I'm doing so here. From this point, go to your Package Manager, install Package Files, Standard, and select Webman Mod. It'll take a while to install, so once the installation is complete, navigate to Webman in the XMB. In order to perform the full installation as instructed, we're going to hold down the L1 bumper button and then press the X button, as I'm demonstrating here. Webman will take a while to install and then restart your PlayStation 3. Once it's restarted and you enable your hybrid firmware, Webman will be active. You might hear your PlayStation's fans start to go crazy. Don't panic, this is completely normal. You'll want to go to the Webman Games folder, select Webman Setup, and then select PS3 Webman with Setup in brackets. When in the setup, you'll want to make sure that Dynamic Fan Control is enabled, and you'll want to pick Auto at 68 or 65 degrees. It doesn't really matter, but I personally use 65. Once you've done so, click the Here in the Click Here message to restart your system. Once your system is restarted, re-enable your firmware. This time, we're going to go over to Multiman or MMCM. Now, sometimes Multiman just doesn't get along with hybrid firmware. If you're like me and you're running into frequent hard crashes while trying to open it, simply put a normal text file that is named boot_plugins on your USB. When this is inserted in your system, Multiman should boot up properly. However, this file does have a tendency to mess with Webman, so just make sure you're only using it when trying to access Multiman. You'll only really need to do so for this step anyway, so don't worry about it. Once you're in Multiman, you'll need to go to Settings, then scroll to FTP Service. This needs to be set to Enabled with no timeout. You'll then want to back out and go to System Information. From here, you'll see your PlayStation 3's IP address, and you'll be needing this for our next step. The next two links in the description lead to the two different PlayStation 3 packs you can have for the game. Both of these will allow you to play online with latest regulations. However, one of them is a performance version. It's a more optimized version of the game with some reduced visual effects. This will have the game running significantly better. I'd recommend this one for experienced players who are maybe a little tired of getting macro stutters every time they exit scam mode on Windy City. However, if you're a new person who's managed to find this, you don't want to mod yourself out of knowing what the game is actually like, especially if you haven't even played the single player yet. In short, if I catch you playing this performance version on your first go round of the game, I will give you a motherly slap on the wrist. However, for the rest of us, this version of the game runs amazing, and I'd highly recommend it. Next numbered link in the description will take you to download FileZilla. Be sure to download the client version as you can see here. Once you have FileZilla, open it up and put the PlayStation 3 IP address you're looking at in Multiman into this box found at the top left. Once you've put it in, click Quick Connect and ignore the warning. I want to quickly show you how to back up your save data. If you're a new player, you can safely ignore this step. Make sure you create and select a directory on the left-hand side where you want to keep your PS3 saves on your computer. Then on the right side, we're going to navigate to dev HDD0, and then home. The folders you then see here will be respective to each profile you have on your system. They're numbered in order of creation, so go to the main one that you played Verdict Day on. Once you find your save data folder, select it, right-click, and hit download. Now this will take some time. If you have an Ethernet cable to wire up your PC and your PlayStation 3, I'd recommend doing so. Otherwise, be patient. Fix the game. Navigate back out to dev HDD0. Once we've done so, grab the unzipped default or performance, depending on what you picked, pack that you downloaded earlier. Within the default or performance folder, transfer the Armored Core Verdict Day BLUS 31194 folder to the all caps games folder within dev HDD0. Once you've done that, transfer BLUS 31194 _DLC folder into the dev HDD0 lowercase game folder on the right hand side. Then transfer the Xdata folder to dev HDD0 itself, and then navigate to Home, the folder of the account you want to play on, and transfer it there as well. These FTPs will take the longest, so please be patient. Once you've done that, if you refresh the games list in Multiman, you should see Verdict Day there. If you want to mount the game with Multiman, press X and it will do so, taking you out to your XMB and showing Verdict Day on there as a disk. Please don't open it yet. I'm going to show you both an alternative way to mount it for those of us who find Multiman is too unstable for our systems, as well as show you a very important procedure you need to undertake to boot the game up and sign into PSN significantly safer from being banned. Here in the footage you can see me mounting the game with Webman from a fresh boot. I enable my hybrid firmware, go to Webman Games, PlayStation 3, and I click on Verdict Day. As you can see, it's been mounted, but before I boot it up, I make sure to do a specific button combination of the R2 trigger and triangle. Once I've done that, you can see I get this notification. It's accompanied by a trophy sound. Under no circumstances should you sign into PSN unless you get this notification. However, I've gotten it safely, so I go to sign in. As you can see, I'm on my alt account. From here, I can open up Verdict Day and it will behave as if it's a fresh start, as I don't have any save data on this profile. Congrats! The game is on 1.03 regulations and you can play free battles completely fine. If you do want to bring over some of your other save data, I'll show you how to do so now. Get your USB and make sure that there's a directory called all caps PS3 and within that all caps save data. In this save data directory, you'll want to copy the Armored Core Verdict Day data that you backed up earlier. It will be labeled with the game's serial code and it will have a tag for each respective piece of data, like paint and UNAC. I'd recommend bringing everything except your game progress data. It seems like progress data is what affects being able to access free battles. Once all this data is copied over to your USB, plug it into your PlayStation 3. In order to copy this data, you're going to need a tool called a Polar. The download for its package will be the next numbered link in the description. You install it the same way you installed Webman. Once you have a Polar, which depending on certain circumstances, if you couldn't open Multiman, you may need the boot plugin's text file in order to do so, you'll want to select USB saves, and when editing the Verdict Day saves, you want to disable copy protection. The PS3 pack version of Verdict Day is the American version, so if the region for your save data isn't the BLUS version, you'll need to change it like I'm doing so here. As I'm Australian, I played on the PAL version of the game. Once you've made sure that the region of your save is correct and the copy protection is disabled in a Polar, apply and redesign the save data. Do this for everything. Once you've done so, you can back out to your save data utility on PlayStation 3. Copy the now edited data that you want to use. Once it's done so and we hop back in the game, you can now see I have everything I had before, from my emblems to my UNACs to my now useless territory data. Before I wrap this up, I want to talk a little bit about actually finding people to play this with. This probably doesn't surprise you, but Verdict Day is dead to the point where this is necromancy. So finding people to play with without organizing in the Armored Core Discord is just not going to happen. If you want to hop in on some PS3VD, I'd highly recommend you join, get the PS3VD role, and ping people whenever you'd like to have a game. I should also mention, if you have a PC with a CPU that's considered B tier or above in the RPCS3 CPU spreadsheet, then honestly, you should just play PCVD. In a post-conquest world, it's more than the ideal place to be playing the game right now, and has a much more active player base. However, for those of us who are unable to for whatever reason, PS3 is a good alternative. I'm just gonna let the B-roll play out, but if you have any questions, please let me know in the comments and I'll do my best to help. I hope you guys have fun. Play some Verdict Day. See ya!